So it's with great pleasure that I am welcoming you all to today's GA4 webinar for e-commerce. I'm Asmita Goel, your moderator for the day, and I've been in Adyogi for over 2 years as a part of the customer success team. We all understand that as technology shapes how important it has become for the organizations to understand data and interact with data on a daily basis. We are very privileged to have Mr. Kanda Hariharan from the customer success team at Adyogi here today as a speaker. He's been with Adyogi for over 5 years now, and I'm sure he has a wealth of knowledge to share with us all today. Welcome, Kanda. I believe that during the session, if in case anyone has any doubts or queries, you can put them up in the chat box and we shall be able to take them up towards the end of the session. Over to you, Kanda.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Perfect. I think, thank you for the brief introduction. Let me get started over to GA4. So perfect. I'll give a brief introduction about what we exactly plan to do today in terms of the webinar is concerned. The first to start with, how do we look at GA3 versus GA4? What are the key changes that we have predominantly in terms of measurement, in terms of matrices? And we, in a hindsight level, to put it across, next we'll be looking at in terms of how do we look at what are the different sources of user acquisition, where do we look that up, and how do we get insights on geography and demographics. And how do we look at product level analysis, say what products are selling more and what is the revenue contribution of product level data and all that. And also we look about various user conversion paths in terms of multiple touch points. What are the touch points that a campaign is deriving or a user is going through before he makes a purchase. And we also expose you to in terms of what are the GA level data that is available in the Adyogi dashboard. Now it's poll time. I think we just want to understand, like, have you been successfully transitioned to GA4? I think we have around 93% of us. That is excellent to hear. Only 7% are still not being transitioned into. See, would urge you to reach out to your account managers primarily, or probably you can drop in an email to us if you need any support further assistance in terms of transitioning to GA4. I think we'll be happy to do that as well. Perfect. I think we'll go into the basic terminology changes that we have in GA3 versus GA4. Okay. See, universal analytics is nothing but GA3. We will be interchangeably using the term of universal analytics or GA3. GA4 is a latest is how we looked at data in terms of how many people have been engaged. Right now, the transition changes from session to events. So whatever you look about in GA4 will be in the name of events, not in the name of sessions. This is the terminology change that we have predominantly across all matrices. We will not be having a session as a metric, event will be a base matrix. And the second change that we have is in terms of users. In universal analytics, how users are measured is based on, say, how many times a person is coming into is called as a user, irrespective of the devices. In GA4, so even a person is coming via multiple devices, he'll be considered as a single user, considering because he exhibits the same behavior or he has the same attributes. So in GA4, users are limited to one, even if they come from multiple devices, whereas in universal analytics, users were reported as multiple entries if they come from multiple devices. This is the terminology and the measurement change that we have. Perfect. Let's go in depth in terms of how do we actually look at user acquisition sources. I think this is one predominant metric every one of you on a daily basis will be looking at, right? What are my traffic or what are the users from my organic sources, from inorganic sources, how many are coming from direct, and what are the different channels that we have. Let's see how we can look that in GA4. Perfect. So within GA4, if you go into, hope you're able to see the GA4 window as well. Perfect, excellent. So within GA4, if you go into report section, if you click on reports, you have something called as user acquisition. So if you just click on reports, when you load GA4, click on reports. When you come under reports, there is something called as acquisition. Just click on acquisition. Within acquisition, you'll have to click on user acquisition. Okay. This helps you in terms of understanding where are your users coming from, whether they are coming from at a channel group level, initially to look at direct, organic, and indirect. And if you want to look about in further more breakdown, say I wanted to understand what is my source, what is my medium based on the UTM parameters again, and what is my campaign name, we of course have the visibility to look at the data. So if I want to look at the source, it's coming from Google, Baidu, Bing, or if I want to look about what is my source or medium, that is again visible. And if I want to look about campaign level, have you mentioned the campaign as a UTM? Definitely you can look at a campaign level as well in terms of your number of users and the average session duration on all the matrices that you want to look about. Perfect. Let's get back. Next is in terms of demographic data. I think this is predominant data most of you would be looking at, right? From which cities my users are coming from, which states are we getting, what is the gender, and all that information. Perfect. So in order to look at that data, you'll have to just click on the user attribute. So it is same under the report section. If you under the report section, there is something called as user attributes. Here you can click the overview, which will give you a hindsight view in terms of what are your overall interactions, age, and all the data that in a dashboard level. If you want to look in detail, you can always click on demographic details. Under demographic details, when you scroll down to the bottom, you get the traditional table data of what are the country by default. Here, if you click in terms of region, you get a state level data. So state level, you get the data in terms of users, you get the engagements, you get the average session duration. And similarly, say I want to look about city level data. It is again visible. You can click on city here. You can absolutely look at the city level data. And you might be wondering, I want to look about what is my revenue contribution or what is my number of purchases. You just scroll down towards the right hand side. You'll be able to find the total revenue here as well as conversions here and the average session duration, of course. Yes. And similarly, you have an option to again look about age, gender, interest, and all that is available under demographic. All these can be looked at, and again you get the visibility towards your number of purchases, revenue, average session duration, and all the metrics are available. Perfect. Getting back to the presentation. I think this is what we discussed in terms of age is concerned. You definitely have the visibility towards age. Next is in terms of geography. I think geography is where we discussed. So we get the visibility in terms of region or country or city, however you want to look about the data, the entire data is visible. Now coming back, say if we want to look about what devices are we getting most engagement from, what devices are our predominant channels in terms of traffic is concerned. If you want to understand that data, again, go to the similar window. So you have tech here. So if you get an overview tab, again gives you a broad visibility in terms of what devices and what platforms we use. And if you want to granularly look up data, you always have tech details under it. Again, if you ask me where it is, it's under the report section. Under the report section, there is something called as a user column. Just click on the drop down on the user column. Under the tech, you have tech details. When you scroll down, you have the complete table data in terms of what browser by default. And again, you get data till about, say, revenue share from each browser, number of purchases, average session duration, and all the data. You have a visibility in terms of selecting different options here. Say you can choose the platform and see what platform is majorly getting. So it is web predominantly for this one. And you have even the device model. Say you get to see what is the device where majorly we're getting. This is an US based account. So we're getting predominantly in terms of data from the US. That's why Pixel and Safari is predominant here. Similarly, we can get the OS and all the definition we wanted to see in terms of the tech is concerned. We can say what is the contribution of mobile, desktop, tablet, again, 100% visible here. Coming back. Perfect. So next is in terms of product analysis. I think this is one key area that most people look at it, like how can I look about, say, product level information available? So what products are being sold out more? How do I have visibility? I think this one area we wanted to share. Perfect. So in order to look at product, right, you will have to just click on the report section. Again, under monetization, you have something called as e-commerce purchases. Say if you're not having monetization, you will be having something like e-commerce here. If it's predominantly in the, again, you have something called as e-commerce purchases under it. Say you have user journey and e-commerce purchases under it. So this column is common, though this monetization is interchangeably changed in some different accounts. But again, this is visible under the report section. You will be able to find it under e-commerce. E-commerce purchases should be visible. Here, once you come inside e-commerce purchases, you get a complete visibility of what products are being sold. Say you have the product item name is nothing but the product name. Similarly, you can look at categories. So what categories are, say we can do, once you do a category level grouping of products, right, within your Shopify website or any other website platform that you do. So I can look at what is the contribution of apparel in terms of revenue, what is the contribution of add to carts, what is the contribution of revenue, all that from a category level. Similarly, I can look at in terms of a product level, which is product ID level. I can also look about in terms of product name. So all these are visible. So where we will be able to get what are the product level views that we get. Similarly, the number of add to carts that we get and the number of purchases and the revenue contributions that we have. Perfect. Coming back. Next is a very interesting topic in terms of user conversion paths. So what is user conversion paths? To put it very simple to you, say in average, right, any person does not have a single engagement making a purchase before he makes a purchase. There will be multiple engagements by a person before he actually makes a purchase. So you might be wondering that, like, say in Facebook, my Facebook and Google data is overlapping, or my person is first clicked on Google or second clicked on Facebook, both are reporting. I want to understand where does he generate first, or what is his journey before he converts. So this is one view where we have visibility in terms of what is a conversion path of a person before he actually makes a purchase journey. Say for instance, a person may be first searching via organic and probably again gone to the Facebook as a platform, then come back on Google and then made a purchase decision and made a purchase. So there will be multiple touch points for a user before he makes a purchase. So right now, if to look at this data, you can click on advertising. See, under advertising, there is something called as conversion path. So under conversion path, you will be able to see what are the channel groups by default in terms of are having engagement before he makes a purchase decision. Similarly, you can also look about what is the source touch point. Say, I want to know whether my Google is having a touch point, or whether Facebook is having a touch point, or organically do we have a touch point? Is it 100% visible for us to look at it? How many touch point a user has before converting? So here, if you look about, right, the average, give me a moment. So here, even you get to know that what is the number of touch points before he actually converts. Say the touch points can be 2, 3, and 4 depending on the channel requirement is concerned. See, only difference between GA3 and GA4 or Universal Analytics versus GA4 is that the Universal Analytics will give you the depth of the funnel. So for instance, you will get all the 7 line items mentioned and then very clearly. But GA4 is holistically measuring the data. It is not giving you the entire funnel, but it will tell you Google plus there is additionally 2 touch points that has happened before this individual purchase happened. So it says that there are 2 touch points involved here. That is how this works. Perfect. Coming back. Excellent. So see these, I think we have deeply integrated with Google Analytics 4 also. So by default, I think you should be view majority of Google Analytics 4 data within the Adyogi platform. So if you go into the report section, I think majority of you would be using the report section on a daily basis. Give me a second. So majority of you would be using GA4, Adyogi reports on a daily basis. So if you go into the report section, you can always look at GA view here. So once you click on GA view, you'll be able to look at the data from GA that is reflecting on a daily basis into the Adyogi dashboard. So we are pulling the data on a daily basis. So this data is available for you to look about all the matrices on a holistic level. Similarly, say if you are looking at campaign analysis page, right, under campaign analysis also we have something called as GA view, where you will be able to look at on a campaign level. So it is very difficult for you to look at this data in GA4 also. So here we have a specific campaign level UTM pulled across. So for every specific campaign, what is the number of sessions on the website? What is the average session duration? And all this data is 100% visible within the campaign analysis page. Similarly, we have Adyogi product analysis page or catalog analysis page. So under the catalog analysis page, again, you have something called as orders view. Orders view 100% reflects your what are your best selling products, what is your number of product page views that it has got, what is the revenue contribution from those products, and it also tells you overall spends that has acquired from both Facebook and Google from all the product listed ads. I think this data is not available on Google Analytics, so we attribute at a product level from a product listed ad what are the spends that is attributed to a product, and then we compare that against the revenue, and then we calculated the CRR also at a product level. In a hindsight view, you will be able to take a decision that what are your categories being profitable and what are your products being profitable. So best working categories can be easily identified with this help, and that can be pushed more in terms of campaign systems. I think we do have regional analysis. Again, yes, regional analysis is again same. You get the state level data, city level data in terms of use, sessions, revenue, and all that. Again, we are pulling this from Google Analytics within the Adyogi dashboard. I think that is it from my end. So I'll be open to answering your questions if you have any. Feel free to put them in the Q&A section. I'll pick up one by one.
Perfect. Thank you for the insights, Kanda. I'll just walk you through the questions. We have a couple of them in the chat. The first question is, how do we see which city is giving more purchases? I think you can walk them through the city-wise analysis here.
Just give me a moment. Just a moment, guys. It's not letting me to navigate. I'm unable to navigate. Just a moment. Can you present us with that? If it's possible. Perfect.
So I'll take it to that.
I think the question is, how do we look up the data in terms of city level is concerned? So
which city is giving more purchases?
Okay. So we'll have to go to the report sections for that. So within report sections, you just have to go into the demographic details. So under demographic details, just click on by default it shows country.
You'll have to just
click on city here.
So once you click on city, you will get the data in terms of
city
cities.
concerned.
And I think further doubt for you will be that in terms of how do I look at the revenue share per city. So you can scroll towards the right hand side and then you will be very well able to see the revenue share in terms of the overall revenue, and you also see conversions. One confusion I think majority of people reach out to us in terms of why does it show conversions in multiple. It is on all reasons. Just click on it and select purchase here, so that you'll be able to look at only the actual purchases that has happened. So all events is nothing but your add to carts and also the sessions or the events that happens on the website. So always select purchase, that will give you visibility of how many purchases you get.
Perfect. Next question is, how do we see new user versus returning customer rate on GA4?
Users versus data. So again, it is
Sorry, I was in mute. So coming back, how do we look about
data in terms of new users versus returning users? So very simple. Click on reports. Come into the life cycle. Click on the life cycle. Click on retention. You will be able to look at the number of users who are new users versus the returning users.
say custom report. Again, you can click on explore. So once you click on explore, so just click on explore. Under explore, you will be able to see some diagrams here in terms of say freeform, funnel, or path. Once you click funnel exploration, it is a template that has been already enabled by GA4. So funnel is already been built out. You just have to change the matrices or segments that you wanted to do, and then you can look at the data and then save this report. So this is how we can look about. But if you say that no, you want to build your own report, custom report, you always have a blank report format available where you can go and then select the segments that you want to see and dimensions and matrices where you will be able to configure your own custom report. And again, 100% customizable where you have multiple templates also available in terms of how do you want to look about the data. If you want to look about a pie chart or a flow chart or a cohorts, completely available. So you can just select and then select the attributes. It's as simple as that of an Excel. You just have to select the dimensions and the data should start flowing.
Another question is, in Adyogi dashboard under product analysis, we have combined spends. Is there a way where we can see division of spends according to platforms? So I think Pratham wants to know about the platform-wise spend division on the Adyogi dashboard. I think we can walk through that.
Okay.
See, under the report section, I think I will not be able to present
no, but I'll answer your question.
Under the report section,
you very well can choose Facebook or Google at the top. If you will have two tabs at the top. So when you click on Facebook and click on report section, for all the views, these spends are respective to the platform except for the orders view, because under orders view, we able to differentiate between Facebook and Google spend. So we don't differentiate there under the orders view. But for the rest of the columns within the report section, 100% you will be able to have visibility in terms of what is your spend in terms of Facebook versus Google as well. So if you want to look about campaign level data, just click on reports, lifecycle. Under lifecycle acquisition, under acquisition, click on traffic acquisition. Under traffic acquisition, just scroll down. You would by default have a channel group. You can just click on it and then select the campaign session campaign. So where you'll be able to see only case scenario is that you should be passing the UTM parameters for campaign name so that you can look at the data as per your UTM and dimensions are. Say if you're mentioning that it's a catalog sales campaign, or in by Adyogi in default, we have UTM parameters set. So you can very well look about all the campaign names of Adyogi within the dashboard here in terms of campaign names, and you can very well look at and read the data. What are the sessions? What is the average session duration? And all the rest of the data is also available.
Dashboard where we can see under product analysis, we have combined spends. Is there a way to see platform-wise spends? We were accidentally on mute for this question.
Okay. See, under Adyogi, say if you are going into the catalog section, right? So for the respective platform, there are two tabs at the top, Facebook and Google, even under the orders view. So if you click on Facebook, you have the Facebook level spends mentioned. If you have Google, you have Google level spends mentioned. You should be 100% be able to see what is the spend from Google or Facebook as a platform into a specific product that is visible.
Perfect. I think we're getting a lot of queries regarding data discrepancy also. That GA4 data and website data are not matching correctly as it used to match in the universal GA. Is there anything that we can do to sort it?
See, the first and predominant question that we face is that like multiple data parameters are not available in real time. So if you're looking at a product level data, product level analysis kind of data, that may not be available in real time. Say today's data may not be reflecting today. It takes certain hours of difference in order to reflect the data. So till about yesterday, if you're looking at last 28 days or last 7 days data, it is 100% available. But for today's data, it is not available. First, in terms of discrepancy, in terms of reporting, check the configuration first. That is the first thing I look to absolutely see. Second thing to look about the measurement of in terms of say Universal Analytics versus GA4 is completely different. Say how traditionally Universal Analytics or GA3 was reflecting the data. So it was considering users. If user come from multiple devices, every device has a single count in terms of user. Currently, if you look about GA4, even they come from multiple devices, if their attributes matches, they have attributes. Attributes is nothing but how GA measures a person. So it can be their user ID, Google sign up, or what devices do they come from and all that information. So if they come from multiple devices, if it's a single user, it counts as a single user. And there is a complete transitional shift in terms of sessions to events. Previously, sessions is for a brief period of time, right? Now sessions is no more in the class. So we are looking at events. So the difference between sessions and events is that, see, a single session can be for a brief period of time, say for next 10 or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it is. But in case of events is concerned, an event is sticking to one. Say if anyone does any activity for 10 seconds, that is counted as an event. So events can, so that is why you see a huge discrepancy in terms of GA3 and GA4. It is mainly because how do we measure and classify the data? So the classification of data from GA4 and Universal Analytics is slightly different.
Perfect. Next question is, can we talk more briefly about convergence path? As data and convergence path are way different than universal analytics in GA4. So I think there is a discrepancy in convergence path in what is being shown in GA3 and what is being shown in GA4. If we can talk briefly about that.
So you mean say the conversion path is different. So to look at right, GA Universal Analytics.
Perfect. So to look about GA3 or Universal Analytics versus GA4, the conversion parts. See, first and predominant thing in GA3 is that like you get the entire visibility of the path. Say what is your first touch point, second touch point, third touch point, fourth and fifth and sixth touch points. All the touch points is 100% visible. But when it comes to GA4, that is not visible. So you don't get the visibility in terms of conversion path entirely is concerned. So you only get to know that like what are your predominant channel paths that we have. It is predominantly due to the how the data collection is happening. So it is predominantly for that reason. Otherwise, the conversion path is available in GA4 also, but not in a very elaborate manner in terms of UA is concerned, because in UA you might be getting the complete conversion path in terms of what is the first touch point, second, third, fourth, fifth, until the last touch points. See, currently it is not available here. I think that is where your problem statement comes from. You get only visibility in terms of what are your predominant conversion paths, and say what are their conversions and what are their average touch points, say before the conversion happens. But we don't get the 100% visibility because how the data is being sampled is different from Universal Analytics and GA4. We have to understand one context why this is also this transitional shift is happening. So see, in GA4, right, there is a lot of restriction in terms of collecting the data. Say we are moving to a cookieless world. So Google also cannot collect data in form of cookies in multiple avenues and places. So that is why this move is happening. So they are trying to get data based on attributes. Attributes is nothing but based on the user ID and based on the Google signals and all that, they are able to get the data. But predominantly cookieless world transition is happening. That's why they are not able to give us the entire funnel. But this holistic data is still available in terms of how do we know what are our best working conversion paths and what are the predominant touch points that is happening before a conversion happens.
Perfect. Thanks, Nada. I think one more question is regarding that we are recording 80% of the revenue of website on GA. I think we've already answered that, considering that when we were talking about that the whole website data is not being matched on GA currently. Another question is that we are recording a lot of add to carts in GA4 as compared to GA3. Which one should we go with? I think some event configuration issue might be here, but there's a discrepancy in add to carts being recorded in GA4 and GA3. So, yes.
I think one comparison standard metrics I would propose to say is that, say, for add to carts, it's very easy to track. Say, have a benchmark level up. Say you have Facebook as a platform, you have Google as a platform. So in under Facebook or Google, if you say, let's take Facebook as a platform, irrespective of attribution, in Adyogi, we should be able to show what is the number of add to carts that's happening. Say, leave the attribution of how many add to carts Facebook has generated, but Facebook event, if you go into the events manager of Facebook, it will tell you the how many number of events of add to cart happened on the website. See that if similar number is coming on your GA4, that should be the accurate data. Say if your Facebook pixel is configured correctly, under the events manager, if you can go and see number of add to carts that is generated for the last 7 days. Say if your add to cart for the last 7 days is 100. So it doesn't mean that 100 add to carts are generated from Facebook. It's just that like how many times pixel fired on your website. So whenever add to cart happens, pixel is going to fire on your website. So if this 100 matches with your GA4, then the data is matching accurately. If that does not match, say if it's 80, probably we're under reporting. If it's 120, probably we're over reporting. So we'll have to look about whether that data is matching with your Facebook events manager.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions that we had. Thank you all for joining. If you have any doubts, you can reach out to your account managers, or we can connect a call with our setup team. And if you're having any problems in connecting GA4 properly, Adyogi team is obviously here to help you with that. I think, yes, there is one more question. That is it possible to change default channel group and model comparison?
Sorry, default.
I think, is it possible to change default channel group in model comparison? I think it's default channel group, the first setting.
See, if you look at model comparison tool, right, you can of course change between social media or campaign. So if you want to look about, say,
I'll tell you about model comparison tool also. Say currently you're using different attribution models across different platforms, right? So I want to know if I come to a conclusion, say the last click is not my correct means of measurement, meaning to say that, say your if I'm measuring only last click conversions, right? Predominant of us will be looking at only last click conversion gives me correct visibility. Last time, where do they click? But in that case, we have a thought process that always that retargeting campaigns will be working better, because out of retargeting, people click and immediately try to buy. But prospecting campaigns, last click conversions will be slightly lesser compared to that of retargeting campaigns. So this is one tool under GA3, also GA4 as well, it is available, which is called as model comparison tool, where we can compare between different attribution models. Say, what is this first click and last click? So first click is nothing but first time who came from, say, let's take this particular campaign. So these are the number of people who came first time from this campaign, and this is the revenue which has contributed out of this first click. Say a person has had 7 touch points before making conversion. First time he came from Google Performance Max campaign. Second time he came from Facebook campaign. Third time he came organically, and fourth time he made a purchase. So first click gives us that first time where did he come from. That is how first click is. And last click tells us how many people came from the last click and they converted. So this helps us understand that, like, say, if you are looking at first click data, are we getting more people in first click will give you clear visibility that is your prospecting campaigns working fine. Are we getting more number of new users into the website who are eventually converting from any campaign, which is not a problem. But first time did they come from prospecting, because eventually they are going to convert from any other campaign. Similarly, last last click performance, you can always look at retargeting. Am I able to convert more from the retargeting? Because last click we can relate to retargeting. Similarly, if you have a different attribution model, you wanted to compare the revenue difference between multiple attribution models, 100% you can do that under model comparison tool. You have multiple segments to look at it. Default channel group is by default one. You can always look at a campaign level as well. So if you have defined your UTM goals as a campaign names, if you have mentioned campaign name under campaigns, for Adyogi clients, we have that defined. So all your campaign names will reflect in the UTM. So here you can also select a campaign here. But if you select campaign, you should be able to look at the campaign names by default here. And then you can look at the data for those specific campaigns against different attribution models.
Perfect. Thanks, Kanda, for the insights. I think that's all the questions that we had for today. Thank you everyone for joining. You can reach out to us in case you have any further doubts. We would be happy to help you with that. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.